if you think I hate Penn State, I really dislike Notre Dame.
I think this is probably going to be my biggest upset in the whole playoffs is I have Notre Dame knocking off Georgia.
Yeah, first of all, I gotta give you your credit. You were the one that put me on to Indiana at the very beginning. The SIG effect, but I never believed in just betting on the number one team to just win it all. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Social Club where everyone has a voice. I'm your host, Jacob Hale, joined with me by my good friend, Nathan Garth.
Appreciate it. I'm excited. First college football playoff we've had with 12 teams. So
Yeah, it's awesome. So Cam's not here today, so I figured I'd get someone that's better, more qualified to have the conversation. So I'm inviting Garth here to talk some ball, talk some sports, take care of some housekeeping things. Go ahead and like, subscribe, check out all our other stuff, and then join our Discord, of course. We got a playoff bracket challenge. So if you guys don't know, it's free entry, but go ahead and join, create your bracket. All you have to do is follow us on Instagram, create your bracket, and then go to our Discord and post it to verify that you've done all the steps. The winner, first place will be $100. So that's going to be great. Free entry. If you know ball, you can walk out with $100. So we'll see what people got in there.
you might as well, man.
Yeah, no reason not to. But in introducing this, so this is our full playoff bracket prediction show. So we're going to go through each team, who we think is going to win, move on to the next round, who we think is going to win, and so on, and then talk about some of the components of the team. And then starting this conversation, let's just talk about the beauty of it being 12 teams now. And now we're arguing about the 13th and 14th team being out, and then the 5th and 6th. So what are your thoughts on that right now?
Yeah, obviously I love it. I think they're already trying to expand it before we've even gone through the original bracket. It doesn't matter how many teams. We're always going to argue that last team that should be in. But I think it's cool that we get some teams that we've never seen in a college football playoff before. So I think it'll be super fun and probably get a couple upsets that we've never seen before. And I think it'll be really good for college football. And obviously, home playoff games is something that we've never seen before, which will be really cool. So,
oh yeah, everything we love about college football, and now it's just amplified on a bigger scale.
Yeah,
just more and more of it, and then you just love these group of 5 teams that are strong and are good, and now they actually have a chance to prove themselves, and we can get rid of the old guard of if it's not Power 5, Power 4, then it's nothing type of mentality, that we're all used to. So I'm excited for this, and I'd say let's just hop right in. So, first, let's start. Who do you believe is in the best position for how the brackets are set up right now?
Honestly, I know it's a little different now that their quarterback got hurt, but I think Georgia's in a really good spot. Honestly, Texas is in a great spot. They get Clemson, who was pretty much out of the playoffs the entire year until they sneaked into the ACC championship game, and then they get Arizona State in the second round, the weakest conference champion as well. So I think Texas is in a really good spot. Georgia, if they can figure out their quarterback situation, they're in a great spot. What we're not talking about is Oregon getting absolutely screwed as the obvious and unanimous number one team in the country. Not even close. And they probably have the hardest path to the national championship, which is crazy. They get the winner of Ohio State, Tennessee, and then they'll probably have Texas after that. So, yeah, unbelievable what they did to Oregon, man.
Yeah, that's completely trash. I think the committee did a really great job up until that point right there.
Yeah.
That right there is just insane. And it's like, it's so weird because it's like, now you're rewarding teams for not being the best team now.
Exactly.
Again, when we look at the Georgia, it's like Georgia 2 weeks ago, we were saying they might not make the playoffs, and now they're in the clear best position to at least make it to the championship game. So it's a learning curve for the committee. I guess Oregon just didn't have enough money behind them with that Nike unlimited contract deal that they have. So we'll see what happens with that. But in saying that, I say let's just get right in with it. So I'll start first. We'll go with Clemson versus versus Texas here.
Yeah.
So Clemson versus Texas. I agree with you. So the thing about Texas is that Texas is one of, I believe, two teams that I think you can make good money betting against them just based off of their track record. So they look really big and bad until you actually see them play the game. And then you realize it's like this is a very beatable team. There's a lot of question marks on that team. Everyone wants to say, like, well, they only lost to Georgia twice, but their signature win was really Texas A&M. Everyone else was bottom of the heap, almost pay for play type of team. So you're really worried about that. Quinn Ewers has really turned to become a little inconsistent with his gameplay.
Yeah.
So they're beatable. As big and bad as they are a legitimate beatable team. And then you look at Clemson, to where Clemson, they're off and on, but towards the back half of the season, they gotten pretty hot. Now that South Carolina game was a complete fumble by them.
Yeah.
They definitely should have won that game, but they came out in the ACC championship game, played very strong. They had a slower fourth quarter, but did what they had to do to win the game. And then more importantly, when I think of the playoffs, I think of coaching experience, because I think that's going to be the biggest component with how far these teams are going to go. And with a guy like Dabo, Dabo's been there.
Yeah.
Dabo's been there. He's been on that team for a long time. He's stable, So even though Clemson's a 12 seed, they're definitely formidable, and it's actually a very interesting matchup between the two teams on how they're going to play. My personal prediction, I'm going to edge out with Texas. My reason why is that there's a sell on Texas, but I'm just not ready to do that in the first round. Maybe in the later rounds, but I'm going to start with Texas beating out Clemson on that.
Yeah. I still can't put a finger on how to feel about this Texas team. I mean, obviously, their 2 losses to Georgia, the first one not being close. Obviously, this past weekend being close. But they handled all the middle to bottom tier SEC teams with ease. So I thought that they were as elite as people thought, and they just couldn't get by Georgia. But the way Clemson's playing now, I mean, they're playing on house money. A month ago, they didn't think that they were going to be in the playoffs, and like you said, Dabo's been there. They have experience. A weird way that Clemson is approaching the new age of college football. Dabo not really believing in the transfer portal, but Maffa and Klubnik have been playing really, really well. Klubnik kind of having a sneaky, like, almost Heisman type season. I mean, he's third in the country in passing touchdowns behind Ward and Shador. So I think Clemson is going to make this very interesting early on. But I'll take Texas and just the better athletes.
Yeah, absolutely. Now again, we could be wrong.
Yeah.
This is a very strange Texas team. But they're going to be at home. I like to lean towards the home field advantage on that one. And when we think about home playoff atmospheres, Austin, Texas, man, that place that's going to be amazing. I bet they're already starting now. And we're recording a week prior, by the way, but I bet they're already starting now. Like I would love to be there right now, just enjoying the atmosphere and everything. But
yeah, you're going to see Matthew McConaughey on the sideline, and they're going to be panning over to him. But yeah, I'm excited. I think this is probably the first round matchup. I think could be maybe the only upset. But yeah, we'll see, I guess.
Yeah, we'll see. So the next one, Tennessee, Ohio State. This one's very interesting because a lot of people are asking for Ryan Day's head right now, thinking he's on his way out here. And you look at Tennessee, and they've been kind of under the radar, but when they're hot, they're hot.
Yeah.
When they're not, they're not. So you just don't know which team is going to show up on that field until they start playing. But when they play, it's probably one of the best offenses in college football that we've seen. So this one's very interesting. I'm going to lean on Ohio State here. The reason why I lean on Ohio State is that, one, it's an Ohio State night game, which we're going to talk about this later, but all the teams, we could have had a night game. I don't know if Ohio State deserved that one, but Ohio State night game here. And I really think Ryan Day is hearing all the chatter that his job is on the line.
Yeah,
I think this is going to be the best coaching we've seen out of him in a while. And then, like, so people want to hate about Ryan Day. Really, Ryan Day just can't beat Michigan. When it comes to better teams and ranked teams, he's good. He's off and on, but that's natural because they're top tier teams. But he plays well. He gets those boys ready, and he keeps it a close game. It's not like he's getting blown out in these ranked games. So I think Ohio State's going to edge out on this one. If I'm a betting man, I would be very interested in the over. I don't know what the line is on that, so I'll have to check it out. But I'm pretty interested. I think that one's going to be more of a shootout, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, if you're an Ohio State fan, do you even want to win this game? I think they know that they're not going to win the national championship, and I just know that they want Day fired, which is crazy. And Ohio State lives in a different world than most college fans. But when you can't beat Michigan, besides winning a national championship, that's the biggest game for Ohio State. Some fans might even say that it's bigger. But yeah, I think that I question whether the players and Ryan Day are going to be almost too nervous for this game. I'm assuming Day knows that if he loses this game, he's fired. He might even be fired if he wins this and loses to Oregon again. But if Ohio State is able to pull it off, I am interested in seeing Ohio State-Oregon rematch on a neutral site. Obviously, they played in Eugene in the beginning of the year, and honestly, Ohio State should have won that game. But I'm actually going to go with Tennessee here as one of my upsets in the first round here. I think the way Nico's playing lately, that defense is clicking on all cylinders. I think that it's crazy to say, and didn't think I'd say this a couple weeks ago, but I think Josh Heupel might be the best coach in this game. And yeah, I think Clemson's going to go to Columbus and get it done.
Man, that would be amazing. That would be crazy if we see something like that. From a rating standpoint, I hope you're right. I feel like that just break the internet right there,
Oh, yeah.
watching that happen. But for my bracket and reserving my $100, I'm gonna hope that you're wrong. So going into the next game, we have SMU versus who are they?
Penn State.
Penn State, yeah. Yeah, you're right.
This
So
is
SMU versus Penn State. I need a monitor
I know.
that we can see the bracket and everything. So SMU versus Penn State. This one's very interesting because both teams are very fraudulent. So you're just trying to bet on like who's gonna take a dive first on this one. Um, yeah, I'm not very sure on who I want to win on this. What I will say is I need to have a Cinderella team. I feel like I should have a Cinderella team. For that reason, I'm going to stay true to myself. I'm going to pick SMU on this game. The reason why I'm going to pick SMU on this game is that even though the first quarter of the ACC championship is some of the worst brand of football I've ever seen, they responded very well, and I think that near loss that they had is actually good for them to get battle tested to be like, okay, we're in playoffs. We still made it. This is what it's going to be like going forward, right? And with Penn State, now I'm a longtime Penn State hater. I really am. And part of the reason why is like they're one of a few teams that always gets overranked every year. I mean, the fact that they were top 5 in the nation, and they literally beat like 6-6 teams the whole time, and they lost to Ohio State. I really dislike that. I don't like what's going on with that. The other thing I would say is them against Oregon State or them against Oregon is actually the first time I've seen them actually air out the football and actually look like they have a good passing game. With that being said, I just have to stay true to who they are as a team. Is that their biggest players, their tight end. After that, everyone else is kind of just in that pick and choose type of passing game. So they're going to rely more on defense in this game. And I think if SMU can just crack them, get up ahead 14 points and stuff, I think Penn State's going to start to scramble, and it's not going to look good for them.
Yeah. This playoff was made for Penn State. They have the same story every year. They go 10-2. They lose to Ohio State and Michigan, or whoever the other good team is in the Big Ten that year. But I think the way Drew Hour's playing, I've been a Drew Hour hater for so long. I've said that he's going to get an NFL GM fired. But the way he's played the last month and a half, I think that he is. I think that he's actually looking like a pretty promising NFL prospect, which I never thought I would say. But the main thing about this game is that we were robbed of a Penn State night whiteout in the playoffs. It is a crime that this game is at 11 o'clock. It's just so dumb. The NCAA never fails to miss out on just great opportunities. But for the game's sake, I think Penn State rolls in this game. I think they win by 20. I think it's never close. They're going up early. Tyler Warren, best tight end in the league. Yeah, I think Penn State rolls in this game.
All right, we'll see what happens. I need to check the weather for that game. See what's going on. If it's below 20, I'm going to be very nervous.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
those Dallas boys don't know nothing about the snow.
Exactly. So then going to the final game in the first round, this one I think I'm most excited about is this Indiana Notre Dame game. First of all, I gotta give you your credit. You were the one that put me on the Indiana at the very beginning. The Sig effect is what you kept saying. But you know, he's phenomenal. Yeah, he's phenomenal.
Sig, baby.
Honestly. And what he done for that team. How much money that team has made for me betting on the spread for them all year. Them and Army won my heart for sure. I might buy an Army jersey and an Indiana flag to put under here and all that stuff out of respect. But
Indiana, best point differential in the country too. They rolled bad teams. I know the narrative out there is that they didn't play anybody. They did have an extremely easy Big Ten schedule, but when you handle the teams you're supposed to handle, and that Ohio State box score does not tell the full story. Indiana versus Ohio State offense and defense was honestly pretty evenly matched. They had two special team blunders that kind of screwed them in that game, but um, you know, like Signetti told you guys, Google me.
exactly. So my pick in this, I think this is going to be very hard because Notre Dame has everything that they need to actually win the game. I'm going to pick Indiana. The reason why I'm going to pick Indiana is because, again, I think this is going to come down to coaching. I think Sigs is the real deal. I think he's going to put them in a great position to win. Notre Dame, first of all, if you think I hate Penn State, I really dislike Notre Dame. And I'm from the Chicagoland area, so I've never liked Notre Dame my entire life. But I really dislike Notre Dame. And because of that, you think the playoffs were made for Penn State. How about Notre Dame because they get to make their own schedule every year and not play in the conference championship game? They are just so overrated. It is disgusting what they do. I think they have a good team. I think they're going to play strong. I'm going to lean on Indiana with this. And really, the argument is I think Indiana is just going to prove that they're just a bigger, better version of what Notre Dame is trying.
Yeah, I mean, um, I agree with a couple of things you said. I think this is going to be the highest scoring first round matchup for sure. Indiana can score. Notre Dame can score. Notre Dame does have a very good defense, but um, I am taking Notre Dame here, and you guys are going to hear that come out of my mouth a couple more times in this bracket. No spoilers, but Jeremiah Love, I think he's the second best running back in the country behind Genty, or as this podcast likes to call him, Gentry. And Jeremiah Love, I mean, I don't think Riley Leonard is an elite quarterback, and I don't think anybody does, but I think Notre Dame's defense can at least limit to Indiana. I think this game is a race to 30. And I think that Notre Dame is going to win, but it's going to be a close one. I like Indiana spread on this plus 7.5.
Yeah, we might have to come out with our own like betting line. You guys let us know in the chat. We'll start putting down some bets here. Some straight bets.
Just fade me if you want to make money, y'all.
Exactly. We'll put you in the Discord as a capper and get you your own little sub channel for Okay. So let's keep it going. We'll move to the second round. So this is going to take a little bit of memory, but I had Texas winning. So then
Arizona State.
Yep, Texas will be going against Arizona State. I think whoever is coming out of there between Texas and Clemson is in a very favorable position to beat Arizona State. because if you ever want to beat Arizona State, just stop the run.
Yeah.
Their top receiver's out. I don't think he's going to play. I think he might be done here, but um, their running back is solid, and everyone's talking about Ginty, but Skidaboo, I believe he has 2,000 yards on the season or something like. He's having a monster year, and he's a very unsung hero of that Arizona State team. I like Arizona State. I think they had a miracle season here, but I think it just ends right here. Now, this is actually going to be consistent when I come with these bye teams because similar to the NFL, I think the teams that come out of the bye usually start off kind of flat.
Mm-hmm.
Something that I've noticed. And then, of course, I think it comes down to coaching as well. I think if Texas can make it out of that first one, they'll be in great position to beat Arizona State and make it into the next round. So I got Texas in this one.
Yeah, and we're recording this just after a lot of the college football awards were announced. I was happy in seeing that Cam Scadaboo was actually the first person off the Heisman list. So they have a running back that could have been in New York, and like you said, this is like a miracle run. Projected last in the Big 12 preseason, just crazy. And the way they've been playing, like you said, it's smash mouth football. They can air it out as well. I don't know if I trust their defense against Texas's offense if they're firing on all cylinders. But yeah, I think this is a pretty simple. I just think Texas is a better team, better athletes. Love the Arizona State story. I think Kyle Whittingham's got those boys rolling. I think they're going to be a Big 12 powerhouse for years to come. But yeah, I'm going to take Texas in this one as well.
Yep. So going on to the next one now, I had Ohio State winning the game. So now Ohio State Oregon rematch is going on here. This one's super interesting. I really enjoyed this because I have to predict a Ryan Day meltdown game.
Oh yeah,
I have to. But at the same time, I really love the position that they're in right now. They could win that first one and then go into Oregon in a game that they definitely could have won. Um, Man, this one's tough, but I gotta call it, man. I'm calling Ohio State on this one.
wow.
Yeah, I know. Major upset alert here. And Ryan Day saves his job on this one, right?
Oh my goodness.
And this is why. Um, One, I never believe, call me a conspiracy theorist, but I never believe in just betting on the number one team to just win it all. I'm probably going to be more right than I am wrong when I go in that stance. And the second thing is, Oregon's been some tight games, so they are a beatable team,
Yeah.
right? It's not like they're destroying everyone. They've been some tight games, especially when I think of that Wisconsin game. Um, they almost blew it for sure. Uh, they gotta have a hiccup at some point. They do. Whether you want to say this round, whether you want to say the next round, or if you're just one of those people who's just like they're just going to win it all, whatever. But they have to have a hiccup at some point, and I think that facing a team that they've already faced in the regular season that they barely beat gives the advantage to that other team because they're going to be hungry.
Oh yeah.
And they're going to look at what they did wrong and be in a good position to give them a good run for their money, honestly.
Yeah. And obviously, I have Tennessee in this game. Really, really interesting matchup. I think, obviously, Nico being a freshman, playing the number one team in the country. I don't know which location this game would be at. I want to say it's the Cotton Bowl. I could be wrong there. But I think Oregon is going to get it done against Tennessee. Tennessee had their big upset win against Ohio State. I think Oregon is far and away the best team in the country, and I think they proved that in this game and win pretty handily against Tennessee.
So the next one going in here, I chose SMU, so it'd be SMU versus Boise State here.
That's so ugly.
I know it is nasty, and it's interesting because um, I think it's very clear what Jinty is going to do. I don't think anyone's surprised at that, right? So the only conversation is what is the rest of the team going to do when we face these bigger, tougher opponents? Now, what I would give to Boise State, because we're actual ball knowers, is that Boise State has always been a powerhouse, and they've always shown that they can play well against anyone in the nation. And I still believe that, to be honest with you. This one's going to be tough. I don't know if I'm going to be right or wrong on this one. I can actually see Boise State winning their first game and making it through. I'm going to edge out to SMU because personally for me, again, I have to pick a Cinderella team in this one. And I'm going to pick SMU on this one because before that ACC championship game, they did look like the real deal. And they have all the components that they need to go out and actually win that game. And I think what's really going to do it is the fact that I think that SMU, I think that SMU defense is going to figure out Boise State. Because if they can hold, and this is similar to what I saw UNLV did, and it actually gave them a good shot. If they can hold Ginty to about 100 yards or so and a half or something like that, or no touchdowns or anything like that, they'll be in clear position to win. When I looked at that UNLV game against Boise State, it was 21-7, but that first half, outside of some UNLV mistakes, that defense did everything they could to win that game, right?
Sure.
And it was the second half that the lack of offensive production just kept putting them in a bad spot that eventually made them lose that game.
For sure. And obviously, I have a different matchup here as well. So I have Penn State against Boise State. The fact, if you want to know how good Ashton Genty is, the fact that you're saying to win the game they have to hold him to 100 yards. I mean, what he's done this year is unbelievable. Should be Heisman winner. I'll stand on that. I think this is a big prove it. Obviously, he had a big game against Oregon earlier in the season, so he's shown that he can do it to bigger opponents and in bigger conferences. I want to pick Boise State so bad, but I think Penn State's just a better team overall. Drew Aller, Nick Singleton, Abdul Carter. I mean, they have athletes everywhere. I think Penn State does win this game, but I will be personally rooting for Boise State.
That's fair enough.
And we were also robbed of a Smurf turf home playoff game too.
Yep.
I hate the auto buy.
Yeah, hopefully they get rid of that. Just for conference champs. Like conference champs can make it in, but the fact that they also get an all out bye is a little overkill.
Yeah.
Just rank them evenly, and the best teams get a bye, and just leave it at that.
Agreed.
So going into the last one in the second round, we have Indiana versus Georgia. Now, this, in my opinion, is the exact same argument that I was making with Indiana and Notre Dame, is that Georgia is just going to be a bigger, better version of what Indiana is trying to be in this one.
Yeah.
I think Six is outstanding, but clearly Georgia is the most talented team in the playoffs. And beyond that, from what I've seen from that second string QB, if they figure that stuff out, if he starts or anything like that, I think they're actually just going to run the tables in the whole playoffs, to be honest with you, because they got everything they need. Whatever position you want to say, they got it.
Exactly.
And it's clearly, I think Kirby's the best coach in the playoffs coming in here, just with all the experience and everything that he's had. Google him.
Yeah.
And see what he's done. But I got Georgia in that one.
Yeah, it was funny to see just how much more Georgia's offense simplified after Beck went out. They should have been doing that all season. Obviously, I think they're better with Stockton over Beck, but I obviously have a different team here too. With Notre Dame, I think this is probably going to be my biggest upset in the whole playoffs. Is I have Notre Dame knocking off Georgia. First notable win for Marcus Freeman, and he goes in and he beats the Cinderella story Indiana, and then he knocks off the who's really been the top dog for the last 5 years in college football. Two big wins for Notre Dame, and yeah, I think that's like I said, you'll hear Notre Dame a couple more times too. I think that Notre Dame's running game and defense is just something that travels in the college football playoffs. Even though I do think Georgia got better when Beck got hurt, going into a college football playoff without your quarterback, they've looked vulnerable all year. I mean, almost losing to Kentucky, getting manhandled by Ole Miss. I just think Notre Dame's going to get it done.
Man, all right. I think I know where this is going. Oh my God!
Believe in touchdown Jesus, baby.
Yeah, this is gonna be nasty. All right, put L's in the chat. But all right. Going to get to the next one. So top of the bracket. So now this is the semifinal. So in my bracket, I have Texas versus Ohio State.
Okay.
And then below that, I have SMU versus Georgia. Okay. So Texas versus Ohio State. I'll try to speed this up a little bit. So I'm going to take Texas on this one. The reason why is that, um, everything that we think is wrong with Texas really just comes down to their QB situation. So if Quentin isn't going to do the job, putting in Arch Manning, they have the talent around them to win,
Yeah.
regardless. So, I like that. I think Texas is going to win. And then, like I said before, I have to pick a Ryan Day meltdown game at some point. And Texas can run the ball, right? And that's Ohio State's kryptonite from what I've seen. You can run the ball on Ohio State, they're going to fold pretty badly. So, in that stance, I'm going to go with Texas in this one. And then I'm actually going to do the below bracket.
Yep.
So I have SMU and Georgia here. Georgia. I'm not even going to explain it. I have zero explanation. Georgia. I'm not going to waste you guys' time.
Okay. And I have in the top of the bracket, I have Oregon versus Texas. I actually think Texas is going to scare them a little bit, but I'm going to take the better team. I know it's a little chalky, but I'll take Oregon in that. And then in the bottom, I have Penn State versus Notre Dame. Notre Dame, baby. Notre Dame in the national championship. And I have Notre Dame versus Oregon, the quintessential number one team in the country versus Notre Dame, who chokes and never does anything. So,
yeah, I think that's going to be pretty clear who you have winning on that one. I would say I will be on record to say if Penn State and Notre Dame ever run into each other in the playoffs, I am thoroughly not going to watch that game. Like I am
it's gonna
going to make it. I'm going to make it a point to not watch that game. Like I might just go on live during that game just to talk about how much I dislike the game without watching a single play of the game. I'm just going to put up pictures of random players on that team. It's like I don't like these guys, right? Again, both of them super overrated. There's no reason they deserve the ratings that they get year in, year out. So in my scenario though, so I have Texas and Georgia rematch, right?
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Rematch for the third time. Um, it is very hard to beat a team 3 times. And the last time that they met, Texas really should have won that game from every measure you can imagine. But somehow Georgia found a way to pull it off, right?
Yep.
In this one, I'm finally going to go with Texas on this one. I think Texas right here, overall, the best team. I love what they're doing. Again, I think from a team standpoint, they are just a well-oiled machine. They can just figure out that QB situation on who they're going to run with, and then the production that the QB really needs to have. Listen, man, if Kirk Cousins was on that team, we wouldn't be talking about this. Because again, listen, man, hand the ball off 20 times, do a couple check downs, call it a day, right?
Yep.
That's all you really have to do. So if Texas can figure that out, I don't see their path to victory. I don't see them running into any much contention here. Now, I will just say for the fun of it, if I had Texas going up against Oregon, in that scenario, that would be very difficult. But I can also agree. I think Oregon can actually win that one out.
Yeah.
And my reason why is that it comes to the passing game. They can air it out.
Oh, yeah.
They can air it out bad, right? And putting Texas in such a bad situation, I think with any Oregon team, if you're going to beat Oregon, you got to throw the ball,
Yep.
and you got to be willing to score.
Exactly.
So I think if they ever face each other, Oregon's going to put Texas in a terrible spot because they're going to score almost every single drive just because of how prolific their offense is with Dylan Gabriel. And shout out to him, what he's done for that team.
Yeah. Wow. Texas national champions. You heard it here first.
Yeah. Hey, one of many. One of many.
So I have Oregon versus Notre Dame. Do I dare do it again?
You dare do it again.
I'm just kidding. Quack, quack. Oregon national champions. It's chalky, but they're far and away the best team in the country. They can score. They can hold you to 10 points. You've seen they can run. They can pass. I love Dane Lanning. I love what he's building up there in Oregon. Um, Best team in the Big Ten. It's funny this year. The ACC winner or ACC championship had a American team in the championship. The Big 12's won by a Pac-12 school. The Big Ten's won by a Pac-12 school. This time last year, we were talking about the Pac-12 was by far and away the worst conference in college football.
Yep.
They have two teams come over and win the Big 12 and the Big Ten. Um, yeah, Texas was in the SEC championship after being in the Big 12. It's the conference realignment has been awesome. But yeah, I got Oregon probably winning pretty handily against Notre Dame. Their Cinderella runs over. Oregon national championship.
There you go. All right. Well, you guys let us know what you think down below. Who do you guys have winning? And like I said before, we have a full bracket challenge. So go ahead, follow us on Instagram, fill out your bracket, go to our Discord, paste it on there, and be in the chance to win $100. Free entry. So either win big or just, hey, you tried. Who knows? But either way, that's all for us. We'll see you guys in the next one.